Welcome back to the Red Store. And you see the red headband, so you know we're talking about Cobra Kai. See that? You thought the punch was coming, but I threw the kick. See? Just a little change up. And that's what I want to talk about today in regards of Cobra Kai and how much change is like how big of a part that change plays in the story. And like you can see, just through all the characters, minor or major, they all have their growth periods and how they all change up in different ways. Change or the lack thereof is the dominating force in all of our characters' lives. You see how Johnny, how he spent the rest of his years after Cobra Kai and everything. He kind of just was partying until one day he opened up his eyes. He had a kid and he's like about to be in his 30s. Where has his life gone? And he hasn't done anything. So that just he kind of just spiraled downwards, and he just lived this mundane, all right, I'm gonna party, rock and roll lifestyle, and neglected any significant relationships and anything of importance in his life. But then, of course, he has the interaction and meeting with Miguel, and that influences him to change. And, we see him become somewhat of a better person. It's not the best person that he needs to be for the world, but just the best person that he needs to be for himself, and that's a big part. You got to be the best version of yourself for yourself. You can't really do it for anybody else. It's got to be for you. And, we've seen him struggle with that. And finally, it looks like he's getting it. So, I want to see his evolved character in the new season. And bringing me to, you could say his polar opposite, or, a character who had a story that was very, very similar to his. It's like they're mirror opposites almost, and it's John Kreese. In the original Karate Kid movie, after they lose, he kind of just burns out. He's moping around to different homeless shelters and whatnot until Terry Silva's, he digs him up out of the dirt and say, hey, you know what? We're gonna put Cobra Kai back on top. It's gonna be, the number one thing in the valley everywhere. And of course, that doesn't work out in the long term. And John Kreese, he goes back to that. He kind of just that mundane, nothing of a life. He's out of the military, and aside from the military, he didn't have much of a life. He didn't have a family either. So it just left him nothing. And all he did was stagnate until he saw Cobra Kai come back through Johnny. And that's where you can see kind of how a lack of change, just trying to live a life with a lack of change, can affect you, because there was nothing new. Over all the years of Cobra Kai not being there, he didn't do anything. It's just like you're taking up space almost. So with nothing new coming into his life, him not being able to evolve and change as a person, that's how it affected him and just forced him to stagnate. So of course, when Cobra Kai pops up, and that's that thing from his past that meant so much to him, of course he has to go right back to it and right back into that same teaching style with the kids and back into his old tricks. Yes, he's back active, and it looks like his life is changing and he's doing better now, but he as a person hasn't changed. He's just doing better. So instead of just waking up every morning and fighting over beds and homeless shelters, just trying to get by every day, now, he's back to his old ways with the Cobra Kai school, and he has more things to do. But him as a person, he hasn't changed. Going back when he was at war and he had the issue with his commander, and he was like, you couldn't change. You couldn't throw your humanity away. That, all the trauma and everything that's associated with that, it forced him into this outlook where now he can't change. He reverted from the type of decent person that he was, because before everything started, you could say he was a good guy. The only reason they got captured was because he didn't want to blow up his friend. And then on top of that, he saves his friend's life again when he's like, you know what? No, I know you can't fight him and you're not going to win. I'll go fight him. He did the right thing consistently, and he was also punished for doing the right thing consistently, because sometimes that happens in life. Him just running, him doing the right thing consistently, but he's never rewarded for it. What does he get? His girlfriend's dead, his mother's sick, and now he didn't kill his friend, so now they're all captured. Now they're forced to fight each other to the death. And it's like, where is his reward for being a decent person in any of that? And, finally, what his, commander was trying to teach him took hold in his head, that no mercy lifestyle. And he did change, but that's the last time you saw him change in his life. Now, he could turn back, but that just goes to show you how change can also be very negative if you make the wrong choices. Now he's passing this same ideology on to the kids. There's no mercy, be brutal lifestyle, which doesn't work. You can't go through your life living that. And we've seen that through Johnny and the other kids from Cobra Kai. They're like, hey, man, that whole John Kreese, no mercy stuff, it messed us up. We took that out into the real world, and it's not like that. You can't do all that stuff. Sure, it might, be cool in high school because, we didn't really have too many consequences for the things that we were doing. And, everybody's just going to blow it off as they're just kids or boys being boys. But, in the real world where there's consequences for things, that type of mentality and thinking is not going to help you in the long run. And I think that's what the show producers are trying to show us, is just, you can't just have, the black and white mindset. You have to be able to change. And whether or not it's for the good or the bad, you have to be able to recognize whether or not if the changes that you're making in life are for good or for bad. And if it is a bad change, then to correct it. And we never see John Kreese correct that mindset of thinking that he has. Nothing really has forced him into a position to just have him objectively look at his life and everything that he's done and say, look, this is where you went wrong. That day during the war when you were fighting, and you never got back on the right path after that. And everything else, you've had successes here and there, but they're never long-term, and you're doing more damage than you're doing good. So maybe, just maybe, we could see John Kreese come around. Maybe somebody can finally get to him and say, hey, listen, this is the path you're headed down, and it's going to be the same stuff all day. It's up and down, up and down. Once this Cobra Kai stuff goes away, what do you have? Your life needs to, be more than just this Cobra Kai, karate, no mercy stuff. Like, you need more things to make you a whole person, and you lost a lot of that, and you never got it back. So we could see that in John Kreese and him being saved. Maybe he's the one, like, at the end of the next season where he's able to come around and he actually walks away graciously. He's like, you know what? Thanks. You guys have given me some help, and I'm going to go get the help I need, and I'm not going to teach this style of Cobra Kai anymore. And maybe he'll just leave the karate teaching to Daniel and Johnny. So that could be a potential outcome. But it's just, we can see with the Cobra Kai, it's all about change in the gray area. In my last video, I said, is you can take good lessons from all of the different karate schools, but you can't always use them, because if you just use that one method of thinking or that one method of fighting, you'll become rigid and stale, and it won't work. You have to branch out and take in different types of mindsets, whether it's thinking, and apply them. That's how, you can become a better person. You see that through Miguel. He used to be bullied, and then he gets the training in Cobra Kai, and everything that he does with Johnny, he's able to stand up for himself, become somewhat cool, and he doesn't just turn into a stereotypical bully either. At first, it looks like he's kind of gonna go down that direction, but Johnny is able to straighten him out after the first tournament and say, hey, look, the way what you're doing, the fighting dirty, taking the cheap shots, all that stuff, you're better than that. And why don't you just win the right way? That'll feel better too. And it'll mean you're really the best. You're not the best at cheating and winning. You're just the best at winning, no matter what. And you really see how that took hold in him, just because when Johnny left Cobra Kai and it's John Kreese Cobra Kai, and you see all the stuff that the kids are doing, he's not readily accepting of it. He's like, why are you acting like that? What are you doing? Like, we know these kids. Some of them are our friends. We weren't always just, oh yeah, karate and this. There's other parts of you than just being Cobra Kai. Like, you can't just treat people that way. So I feel like that right there, Miguel is our golden standard when it comes to change as a person and accepting different ideologies to live the best life that you possibly can. So I feel like we're going to definitely be seeing the older characters in the show, and how are they going to change, and what are they going to do? Are they going to be able to change for the better, or is it going to be for the worse? Because of course, the older you get, the harder it is to change certain things about yourself and thinking. So that's definitely a challenge that everyone's going to face in the show. Let me know what would you like to see changed in certain characters to make them better, or can John Kreese be redeemed and changed for better? So let me know. I'm gonna see y'all in the comments. Peace.